Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I'm talking with actor Mark Pellegrino. So, welcome, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a big. You have done so many shows that fit that kind of nerdy, geeky, audience that we love. So excited to have you on.
Thanks, man. Geeks rule the earth, so I'm glad to be a part of that group.
Yeah, for sure. We've been enjoying you on American Rust. Virgil's a character.
Yes, he is. Yes, he's a man-child, and men children can be interesting. Not nice to live with, but interesting to watch.
I thought my wife and I have been watching, and our favorite scene was the wedding, where he brings the younger date, but then tries to leave with his I guess his current wife or his ex-wife.
Current.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah, he doesn't know boundaries.
No. And he ends up getting in a fight.
Of course. Yeah. Younger man picking up on my date. I mean, he has a sense of justice. We can't sell him too short.
That's right. No, it's really good. It's really good. So let me start here. What made you want to become an actor? How did you go about getting into that? Was there a time in your life that you said, okay, I'm going into entertainment?
I totally fell into it by accident. I went to college. I went to college for about a year. I got straight A's, but I fell in love with this crazy girl and lost interest in school. Was more interested in being with this crazy girl, and found myself sort of drifting. I was working at a gas station. I was sort of singing in a rock band. It was like a garage band, and dating this crazy girl. And really there was, I didn't seem to have any focus or destination, which is troubling.
I feel like I've seen this movie.
You might have. Yes, I think it is the plot for many a film. And I was, 19, 20 years old, and, life is intruding. You have to do something. So I think I saw an advertisement for a modeling school called John Robert Powers. I don't even know if it exists anymore. It's sort of a scam, but they were offering free classes for stuff. Yeah. So the price was right. I went in and I started doing this modeling stuff. And I think I even modeled on a runway or two, like, in Topanga Mall or something like that. I did a runway show with another guy. And, but I couldn't really feel that vibe too much. The modeling wasn't working for me. I did a catalog too, some cheesy catalog. And then they were offering a commercial workshop class, which I took. And the teacher there, who was a commercial actor, had been a bunch of things, thought I had talent for some reason, and set me up with an agent. And that's how I got started. And that agent set me up with an acting school that just so happened to be the best acting school, I think, on the West Coast, Playhouse West.
Good job.
And it was all sort of fortune, and luck. And it wasn't until I was in acting class, actually studying an approach to acting, which we call the Meisner Technique, and watching real actors at work on stage and watching this process unfold, that I started to fall in love with the craft. And then, even though I fell in love with the craft, I wasn't so in love with the business or a filmophile. It took me, 15 years after that to fall in love with actually the filming aspect of it and the importance of film in our narrative. So I became a film buff many years later, after I got introduced to my wife, who was a huge film buff, and she forced me to watch foreign films and classic
movies. For her.
Yeah, she's a good egg that way. So I've grown into it by accident. It went from an accidental acquaintance to something that I can't get enough of now.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Did you do theater in high school, or were you doing sports? What were you doing in high school?
No, well, in high school I didn't grow, so I played Pop Warner football for 6 years. Got into high school at 15, and all the people who were playing with me grew and played high school football. I stayed 5'1", 5'2" until I was like 17 and a half.
Oh,
So
wow.
I couldn't play football. I did martial arts. So I was
Okay.
studying Taekwondo with Master Chong Lee and Tarzana, and I was studying a traditional style of jujitsu called Kodokan Jiu-Jitsu with one of my best friends in high school who happened to be a Shodan black belt in jiu-jitsu. Everybody thought we were nerds too, and we could kick their asses, and they didn't know it. But yeah, so I started studying with him, and then full-time studying this traditional style of jiu-jitsu with him.
Yeah.
That was my
And
high
you
school
still
thing.
do it.
I don't do traditional jiu-jitsu anymore. I got messed up. Martial arts is a weird thing for me because for most people, martial arts is a lifestyle. They do it from the time they're kids, and it continues on through their entire lives. Me, I did it intensely for pockets of years, but I don't feel like it infected my life. I didn't have the Bushido way, or the Bushido spirit, like my teachers did. And now I look back on the things that I used to be able to do, and it seems like I'm looking at a completely different person. It feels like another life entirely.
I know all about that.
Oh yeah, right. And part of the reason I feel like I can't do that stuff anymore is because I was playing so rough at the time, and got injured. I do have a plan on getting into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have a 2-stripe white belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which means I know nothing. I know nothing. But I do have an aspiration to get a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Not even a black belt, just a purple belt. Just a purple belt.
Just enough to be dangerous.
Purple belts are gnarly. Yeah, I'll take that purple belt any day.
So I think and you'll have to tell me, I'm guessing this was fairly early in your career. The first time I remember seeing you on a show was LA Law back in the 80s.
Wow, yeah.
And so when I was doing my, I go through a little bit of research before I get on, because I like to remind myself where I've seen you. It amused me because your character, LA Law, punk. It just said punk. I thought, well, that's funny. That's funny. But then you were on 2 other shows, same thing. It was just listed as punk, and they were all early. And all early. And I was like, it took him a while to crawl out of that punk role.
Well, Charles Bronson was a 30-year overnight success. So, and Kathy Bates was about a 25-year overnight success. So I take my time. We have to, it takes time to get out of the molds that Hollywood tries to put you in. And largely that's your own thing. As an actor, you have to be able to access things that show them different angles. And that takes skill and experience to be able to do that. You can't do it when you're starting, when this stuff like cameras and lights are in your face and everything is so artificial, you don't really quite know how to bring the things you're learning into the actual real world yet. That takes quite a bit of time. Sandy Meisner, my mentor, not actual teacher, but the teacher of my teacher, said it took 20 years to be an actor. And there's reasons for that. It's not as easy.
It's a hard job. It's a lot of times as fans, we think it's not as hard as it is. It's a hard job. You guys make it look easy.
I think that's part of the problem. After Marlon Brando, or maybe even a little before, Monty Clift, that whole slew of young method actors in the late 40s and early 50s changed acting to such a degree that now, what they did was very unusual when they did it. Acting before that was mannered, and it was very obvious that people were acting. Once they came along and inserted this intense naturalism in what they did, that became the standard, and that was 60, 70 years ago. And now everybody sort of does what these guys do, and they make it look really easy. But I'll tell you what, it ain't. And all you got to do is get in front of the camera to sort that out.
I know. I believe it. So we had Nestor Carbonell on,
Love
and I've
Nestor.
been lucky enough to get kind of friendly with him. So I sent him a note. I was like, "Hey, I got your boss coming on the show." So he said to tell you hello.
Well, tell him I said hi back. He's a good egg.
Yeah,
Like
he's
him a
a
lot.
nice guy. He's a nice guy. So the kids, our kids, so excited. They're such big Lost fans, and they were absolutely just. I always go around. We play the "Where have you seen this person from?" game.
Mhm.
I like to see where they know you from. Everybody was lost.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we got Jacob from Lost. That's pretty good. Do you have? I've heard Nestor's. Do you have an opinion on the ending?
Well, I do, but I don't know if it's legitimate because I haven't seen the series. So whether or not it tied up everything, I can't say for sure. Now, I'm behind in my viewing. There's so much content now. I'm struggling just to keep up with the stuff now and review all the shows that I haven't seen The Sopranos. I haven't seen The Wire yet. I mean, these are earth-shattering, genre-changing series that I haven't seen. So I'm behind the times. So
you need to stop talking to these bozos on podcasts,
right?
Watching some shows.
So I can take this time and catch up. Well, so I don't know if it summed up everything well. I get the impression that a lot of people were not satisfied with the summation, but I cried. I mean, of course, when a dog lays down next to a man and goes into the next world with him, that's going to make me cry no matter what. But I thought the message seemed to be very interesting. I got the impression, well, the island was a real thing, and these people really needed to help each other to get to that whatever stage it was they had to get to, to get to heaven. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. I think I'm in the minority, but I actually enjoyed the finale. To me, I liked it being left a little bit open to interpretation, but I think it tied it up better. It was just the whole series was a little bit confusing. So a lot of you're trying to guess what actually is going on. So I think that was part of the problem. People wanted concrete answers at the end of it, and they didn't really get that.
Yeah, but then if they had concrete answers at the end of it, it would be concluded in their mind for all time.
That's
but
right.
The fact that they don't, they're still thinking about it. What is it, 10 years after the show is over?
At least.
Yeah. So I think that style keeps people in a deep relationship with the project long after it's done. So I'm all for it.
So you got to play Jacob, who I've read some articles where he was kind of described as like a Anselon type of character, or even a Christ type of character. But then you went the exact opposite on Supernatural. Said, well, I'll do the opposite. I'll play Lucifer. I thought that was kind of interesting that you had done both sides of the religious coin
at the same time.
Yeah,
I was filming them both at the same time. So yeah,
that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
you're our favorite Lucifer, and that's including the gentleman who's actually playing Lucifer on Lucifer, which is he's good. He's good. You were our favorite.
Different. He's different.
It's just a different
guy. And I love Tom Ellis. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Really good guy. Really good actor.
Very good actor.
Yeah, you were our favorite one. And part of that, I mean, Supernatural was on TV for like, I don't know, decades.
15 years, 15 seasons, man.
Crazy.
And voted the most popular, I think, sci-fi horror show on the CW of all time.
Yeah. And deservedly so.
Yeah, those boys are blessed.
I think it would be difficult to be on a show for 15 years and then have to kind of go back out there to something different, because there's no way you could not be associated with those roles. I think that'd be difficult.
Yeah, I think it was more of a hindrance way back when, when people got typecast and they couldn't get out of the typecast, in the 70s and the 80s. But now there's so much crossover, so much genre, so much content, so much stuff going on. As iconic as that show is, those guys are doing just fine. I mean, Jensen slid over into The Boys, which is a freaking great show. I'm totally addicted to that show.
Have you read the comic book?
No, but I should.
You should, although it makes the show look tame.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, we're really looking forward to to him playing the soldier.
Soldier Boy. Yeah, I can't wait for that. And then of course Jared went over to Walker, Texas Ranger for the reboot of that.
Yeah, pretty easy act to follow there.
You're doing just fine.
They're doing all right.
Yeah.
Doing all right. Do you have a favorite role that you have played?
Hamlet.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, I'm adjusting here. Yeah, I played Hamlet. My wife and I taught at the theater company that I was telling you about earlier. I taught there for maybe 16 years.
Wow.
And it was a theater company, so we did plays and repertory, sometimes for years at a time. Now my wife and I had a Shakespeare company that was a separate deal in the theater company, and we had Shakespeare scene nights, and we decided to do Hamlet, and we rehearsed it for a year and a half and put it up for 3 months. Very Moscow Art Theater. You know, the Moscow Art Theater used to rehearse plays for a year, 2 years, which is abnormal. You get 4 to 6 weeks, I think, on Broadway. I don't see how you could do Shakespeare in 4 to 6 weeks. You have to be a genius. It's crazy. But I read the play 2 times a day for a year and a half. 2 times a day, Hamlet.
You must have loved it.
I did, and we did it for 3 months. They wanted me to do it in perpetuity, but it was a little too insane for me. I mean, this is a play that made Daniel Day-Lewis walk off the stage in the middle of it. It's not something that you just do. I don't see how you do 8 performances of that a week, but that was my favorite part. On TV, I'd say, or film or something, probably Gavin Q. Baker III on The Closer was my favorite character, because I was able to play my 2 favorite gay icons simultaneously. I played a combination of Carson Kressley and Tim Gunn, and I put them in this character, Gavin Q. Baker III, and I think it was pretty good part.
I'm glad you brought that up. Closer is one of my favorite shows all time. Love that show, but I had forgotten that you had a great role on that. It was very unique. Enjoyed.
Yeah, I was the only character to sort of bitch slap Kira around. You know, she controlled everyone that she was around, and my character wasn't having it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Put up with that nonsense.
Yeah, alpha male.
That's a great show.
It was good. I was hoping Gavin Q. Baker would make an appearance in Major Crimes. You know, the
yeah.
Oh well.
It seems like, if I remember right, they're still working on something. We still may see some of those characters again.
I hope so.
Who knows? Yeah, you may still pop back up.
That would be great. I love James Duff. He's the executive producer of that show. One of the things I really love about them is the way they integrate the crew and allow the crew to expand their own horizons. Literally 1 week, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. This woman was doing my hair. You know, she'd been doing my hair for a few weeks. The very next week, she was directing a show, and I don't see that kind. Yeah, I don't see that kind of crossover much. You know, the lines between the classes in Hollywood are very distinct, and they seem a little bit. It seems a little bit hard to break through the individual glass ceilings, but James was letting people explore and work, and because he ran the show, you know, he's a showrunner, and I thought that was just really awesome of him.
We need more of that.
We sure do.
Did I see? I'm jumping all over the place, but I know we just got a little bit of time. But did I see that when you went for the role in National Treasure, you actually had tried out for Sean Bean's role?
I did.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. What happened? Why? How did you end up on the opposite side?
I think they liked me and wanted to place me somewhere, but they had, I guess, Sean Bean in mind, and they still wanted me to be a part of the project. I also can't help but think that me and Avi, the casting director, bonded very deeply during the audition, because my cat of 20 years passed away literally the day before I went on this audition.
That's a good life. 20 years, that's a good life.
She was hardy. And I was so devastated. I'm laughing now, but I was so devastated that I went into this audition completely frazzled, and I said, I'm really sorry. I just lost my cat of 20 years. And I burst out
Oh no.
bawling. I couldn't stop crying. Big 6'3", 210-pound monster coming in there and crying over his cat. And it turns out she had lost her pet as well, not so, around the same time. So
Yeah.
we both bonded over that, and she's always been sort of a supporter out there for me, and I for her. I feel sort of spiritually connected to her. Great casting
Yes.
director too. Great taste in film.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's terrific. So we liked your character as well on 13 Reasons Why. And I was curious with that one. When you did that first season, did you have any idea that it could go on for several more seasons? Because when we first started watching it, we're like, this is a one and done. We were not expecting it to come back and back and back.
Yeah, I mean, I think they exhausted the possibilities from the book. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They did, I think, an even better rendition
Really well
of
done.
the book in that first season. I mean, it's masterful, and Kate Langford was so good. Did you see it from the beginning? So you saw the
I did.
suicide scene? Okay, so
Yeah,
you were able
yeah.
to see that. They had to cut that scene eventually because the psychiatric community would not
Right.
endorse the series.
Yeah, we remember when that happened. It was a very difficult, that first season, really difficult to watch.
Very
Upsetting.
difficult.
Yeah.
And there were a couple scenes in there that were very difficult, but from an acting perspective, Kate's choices were pristine and complex. And I actually openly protested the fact that they had to cut that scene. They had to.
Right.
It was the right thing for them to do. But I did not agree with the psychiatric community. I thought that scene in particular showed something that would make anyone who was thinking about suicide turn around and go the other way. And that was doubt. At the very end, right before she knows she's slipping away, you see terror and doubt. And I think people need to see that it's an irreversible thing, that they're a path that they're going down, and they need to see that it's not a relief. It's not the solution.
Right.
In fact, you go into it. You'll go into it with deep fear and regret, and that's what I saw with her. But I thought they did a great job at expanding the story and turning the guilt on the survivors, and watching how the survivors deal with the suicide, because that really is a very important story.
Sure.
Right? I mean, the story for the person who's committed suicide is over, but that person and what they did and what brought them to that point lives in the people after them as they try to put the pieces back together. And as my character, especially, my son was deeply affected by what happened, and it turns our whole household upside down. And to me, what sent a great message about conscientiousness, and being aware of what's going on around you and what's happening with the people around you. And in some respect, I don't buy this philosophy entirely, but there is a certain responsibility that you have to those around you. I don't buy the idea of duty. You don't have duties to other people, but
Right.
you certainly owe people the respect of real openness and conscientiousness to them.
Yeah.
And I
love that.
think that show was sort of promoting that idea.
But it had to be a difficult role to play, but also a great role as an actor, because you really got to develop that character over the 4 seasons. It was interesting to watch how he kind of changed and evolved over that time period.
Yeah, he had a real arc, and I didn't expect that. Because he didn't come across as, in the first season, as a dad who would be sensitive enough to his son's emotional problem to completely remake himself and try to help his son. In the very first season, he seemed like a guy who was comfortable with his athletic son, his outgoing, aggressive son, and less so with the nerdy, artistic kid who sort of falls through the cracks socially and at home. And he didn't know how to deal with that. And to see him turn around and embrace his son and save his life, I mean, that was a tough scene. I mean, grappling with the whole method of the way Deputy Stendhal dealt with his son as I don't want to give it away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but
spoilers.
But as he dealt with what his son did,
yeah,
the weight of that can't be expressed enough, because he was an officer of the law. His duty is to uphold the law,
right.
and he stepped outside of it for love. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, pretty great. Pretty great. Any quick impressions on Dexter coming back?
I was invited to the premiere, but it's in New York, and I
Oh.
couldn't make it. So it would have been great to see Michael
Well, you
C.
should have
Hall
called.
again.
I'd have run up for you.
All right,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Next time I'll do that. Hey, I hope it goes well. Michael C. Hall's a great actor, and he made an iconic part. I can't imagine Dexter now without him in it.
Right.
So I'm glad he's getting another shot to throw this thing out there in the world. When I first read the script of Dexter, I thought, oh, it's the end of the world. They're making a serial killer a hero. And I have issues with that. I have issues with the fact that Hollywood lionizes these lowlifes, because they are the worst human beings on the planet. There's really nothing redeeming in them at all. And we're fascinated, I guess, by the horrible things that they do, and we wonder at their motivations, but it's really, a psychosis and narcissism gone wild. And maybe it's great for psychiatrists to explore, but for human beings, I think we, an artistic, material, we're better pointing our sights in other directions. But what I did really, really like about the show, that I think I could carry away as a moral idea that was actually pretty elevated, was that it was about a guy who tries to overcome his impulses by sticking to a code of conduct, a set of rules. And I think all of us can relate to that. It's less extreme things, but certainly if you want to be a rational, productive individual in the society of other people, you have to restrain yourself when you're around other people, and you have to act rationally as opposed to impulsively. And I thought that was a deep embedded message of the piece. And when he goes off, his life goes awry, right? When he stops fighting, using his bad impulses to do bad things to bad people, and starts actually bringing semi-bad people like me into the world, or innocent people in, his world goes south. And I think that's a pretty good message for people.
That's actually really a good way to explain it. I like that. Well, Mark, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time. Before I let you go, is there anything that you have upcoming that we can keep an eye out for? I saw you were working on a project with your wife. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, we teach in Paris, and we do theater in Paris. So she's there now with her school. I call it her school because she's founded it now and got it up on its feet. And I co-teach there. I'll be going there on Monday. Awesome. I'm doing 911 right now. I'm just doing a guest spot on 911. I finished that up tomorrow. And of course, American Rust is out there, and I think we're 6 episodes in, starting next Sunday. Good. So I hope everybody watches that. I also do a thing called reality checks, but I haven't written an episode in a while. Little philosophy bites that I hope people enjoy, that are sort of funny. And you can find that pinned to my profile on Twitter. So,
that was my last question: is where can we find you on social media?
Mark R. Pellegrino on Twitter, and I'm the check mark guy. There's people imitating me, and they're awful, and don't fall for them. They're awful accounts. And you go to that if you want some stimulating philosophical political discussion, because we get into some pretty intense arguments there. But if that's not your bag of tricks, then go to Mark Ross Pelly, MarkRossPellE on Instagram, and you'll see dog pictures and cat pictures and advertisements for what I'm doing next, and all innocuous stuff that shouldn't bother anybody.
Yeah. Well, all right. So next time you have to come back, because the show's called Too Opinionated. So we have to actually get into some opinions next time.
Hey man, I'm ready.
All right. All right.
I got loads of those things.
Well, thank you, Mark, so much, and best of luck. And
thank you.
Looking forward to what you have coming next. Although American Rust, excellent. Really
Good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. So that was the talented and terrific Mark Pellegrino. Really enjoyed that. He was so nice to fit us in. Normally, you guys know I'm a talker. I could easily fill up an hour, but he was fitting us in. He's got so much going on. So thankful that we were able to get the time in that we did, and we at least got to touch on a lot of the different roles that he has been in. We'll work on bringing him back for sure. One of my favorite actors, just the best, Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, really appreciate the help. If you go to our YouTube channel, Meisterkhan Pod, give us a like and subscribe. We could really use the help. You can also find getting so close to 300 episodes now on our website, meisterkhan.com. It's got the audio and the video. Guarantee you'll find tons of people and subjects that you're fans of or that you're interested in. So definitely check that out. Thanks to Mark. Thank you guys. Until next time. Bye, everybody.